It's time to resume classes on tax administration in Lagos State this week. In case you are a first-timer, this show exists to educate Lagos State residents on matters pertaining to tax administration within the state. My name is Oyinlola Sale and this is a Tax Talk. Our first segment is business news, after which we take the time to dissect matters with our guest in the studio today. Thank you for joining us, but please stay tuned as we check out business news.
This is business news. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says Lagosians are beginning to see the practical results from the taxes they pay, including more affordable food prices, as the state's investment in local production helps push down the cost of rice in the market. Speaking at the 60th Annual Bankers' Dinner at the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria in Lagos, the governor confirmed that a 50 kg bag of Lagos-produced rice will now sell for between 57,000 to 58,000 naira, a sharp drop from the high prices that burdened households last year. Sanwo-Olu explained that Lagosians' continued compliance with tax payments has enabled the state to build and operate larger rice mills in Nigeria, strengthening food security and boosting supply. With over 200,000 bags of finished products already in stock, he said the impact is now reflecting positively on food inflation. A year ago, we were struggling to buy a bag of rice. In the same market, you can get 50 kg bag for under 60,000 naira, he said. This is real growth, innovation backed by citizens' contributions. Recent data from the National Bureau of Statistics also support the governor's assertion, showing slight decline in food inflation and lower prices for staple foods, including rice, beans, and maize. Sanwo-Olu said Lagos's investment in agricultural production, funded by taxpayers' revenue, is helping to ease economic pressure on families. He emphasized that a stronger Lagos economy is a direct outcome of residents fulfilling their civic responsibilities. Sanwo-Olu also credited improved coordination between state initiatives and broader national monetary reforms for stabilizing prices. He praised the Central Bank of Nigeria for policies that are boosting investor confidence and strengthening the economic environment. As Lagos continues to expand its infrastructural and local manufacturing capacity, the governor assured the financial sector that tax-driven development will keep translating into practical gains, from new jobs to cheaper essential goods. And that's it on Business News.
If you are a resident of Lagos State, I'm pretty sure you can testify to the fact that the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service is no slouch when it comes to the dispatch of their duties, whether it is simplifying the processes involved in tax administration or breaking down tax regulatory policies for taxpayers. The agency takes its responsibilities very seriously. The LIRS's Deputy Director, Personal Income Tax, Mrs. Basirat Akin-Bashiru, is here in the studio with us as we take a look at filing of annual tax returns and addressing taxpayers' needs with the LIRS. Mrs. Akin-Bashiru, you're welcome to the Tax Talk today.
Thank you, Oye. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's certainly my pleasure. And you look great.
Thank you. You're not looking bad yourself.
Oh, thank you. Let's start by looking at the importance of filing of annual tax returns. Why is a timely filing of annual tax returns crucial for the individual taxpayers and the broader economy?
Thank you for that question. Annual tax returns is a federal government's law, as entrenched in the Constitution of Nigeria, Section 24F, that every individual that earn an income must file to their respective jurisdiction. Now we are in Lagos State, which LIRS is a champion. Every individual or income that has an income within a particular period of time, for personal income tax is a year, whatever income you had in the previous year, you must file in the current year. What I'm trying to say in essence is that whatever income you earn in 2024, it must file in 2025. So usually for personal, for individual, is the preceding year basis. Income you earn in the previous year, you must file in the current year. And for Lagos State, Internal Revenue Service, they take it so personal, so passionate, because it's well-developed states. In so many ways, it's generating revenue for Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. 80% of what the states generate today comes from your income you filed, that I filed, that my company filed for me, basically because we're trying to build the IGR of the states. They need to increase their revenue. It's part of this revenue they use in providing all the infrastructures they provided. It's also useful for us at the states to get our data. Filing of return make us to know how many of our taxpayers, how those taxpayers are paying their taxes. It helps. It helps us to monitor the compliance of every individual, who and who are paying their taxes as entrenched in the law Constitution of Nigeria. So that is what it's all about. So basically, annual tax return is very important to the states because it helps in planning our future and our statistics in the state as a whole.
Thanks for your explanation, Ma. But let's move on to this. So how does consistent tax filing contribute to the sustainability of public services and infrastructure in Lagos State?
Thank you, Oye, for that question. It's helped the states in increasing the IGR of the states. By you filing your returns regularly, it will help the states to monitor what revenue they've collected. By so doing, they'll be able to increase their revenue that they're collecting, which helps in the government in planning their infrastructural development. Okay? How many schools do they need to provide? Looking at the health sector, what hospital do they need to create more? What facilities do they need to create more? Looking at the security, in which aspect of the security do they need to improve? Maybe the street lights, maybe mobilizing the security agents, maybe the police more. It helps also in developing education. Do you understand? It helps us in developing the public schools. How many schools do they need to provide more? How do they pay their teachers? You understand? So it helps in the development of infrastructure of the states. If I filed, you file, everybody filed their returns, then really the state will have more revenue to play around with. When I mean play around with, to develop, provide more structure.
Exactly.
For the citizens of the states.
Yes, and Lagos will definitely get better with that.
Yes, every day, yes.
What specific measures has LIRS put in place to simplify tax return submissions?
Yeah, thank you, Oye. In some years back, LIRS felt they need to have a shift from our manual filing of the long Form A. So they now develop a platform which they call Enterprise Tax Administrative System, which they call eTax, and it can be accessed through www.etax.lir.net. So they developed this application so that individual taxpayer can have easy access to their filing of returns. They don't need to go to tax stations. They need to move away from the ambiguities of a long queue. Because often when we are using the Form A, you need to go to tax stations, you need to submit your tax returns, you need to have interaction with us officers. But our current EC believes that no, we need to move away from that paradigm shift. Let's have an accessibility of our returns. So on this platform, we call it tax platform, you can have your own personal interaction with the system, and it's up 24 hours, and you can apply on it anywhere you are in the world, as far as you're having an internet. So it is easy and it's accessible because we want to reduce our interaction, the client-staff interaction, you understand? You can easily file online yourself, get yourself assessed, which you call self-assessment, and get your tax clearance. But the law says in the next 6 years, if you find anything not correct about what you filed, we can go back 6 years to assess you. But individually, you can easily go on that platform, you get yourself assessed, and you get your tax clearance without an human interaction. So we made that and it's simple as ABC for taxpayer because of that platform that we created. So it helps. It really helps.
It certainly helps. It has made things a lot more easier.
Yes, miss.
Let's take a look at this. With increasing reliance on digital platforms, are taxpayers' information on e-tax portal 100% secure?
Yes, very, very, very secure from LIRS, though the taxpayer itself needs to put some measure in place, which I'll come to in due course. The LIRS has developed this platform in a way that is encrypted. If you key in your information now, you cannot get no other officers, even you cannot have access to it except you have your password that you use to it. That is why you always advise taxpayers, if you log in on the e-tax platform, ensure that you have a strong password that cannot easily be accessed. Though we know that we want one or two human error to this platform, but notwithstanding, LIRS ensure that the platform is very, very secured. We have an agreement with the Data Security Agency that we sign that none of our information or taxpayer information that is on that platform we get out without their knowledge. So that is why we always advise the taxpayer also to ensure that they have a strong password, not disclosing their password to third party.
Very important.
It's very, very important. Not disclosing your password, have a strong password, have a multi-facet action on it so that you have an A, you have a B, you have a C, just like the digital world is evolving every day. Anybody can hack into it if you don't have a strong password, and ensure that you don't disclose, for whatever reason, your password to anybody, a third party that can get access to your information.
Thanks so much for your explanation so far. But right now, we need to go on a quick break and we'll be right back. We'll return to our chat with Mrs. Akin-Bashiru once we get back from this break. Stay with us.
Have you had a hard time with taxes and understanding tax administration in Lagos State and the complex nature of Nigerian tax law? Do you know what agency or tier of government collects the various types of taxes? Have you ever found yourself asking any of these questions? Join us for your favorite program, The Tax Talk, your infotainment program.
You're still watching The Tax Talk, and of course, we still have here with us Mrs. Akin-Bashiru. Thank you for your patience, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now, what are the legal consequences for taxpayers who fail to file their annual tax returns by the stipulated deadline?
Thank you, Oyin. Like I said, it's entrenched in the Constitution and on the law guiding the taxation in Nigeria. There are great consequences for not filing annual returns as stipulated. For individual, it is from 1st of January to the 1st of March. And for company, it's from 1st of January to the 1st of January every year. And wherein an individual or company did not file their returns at that period, it has a great consequences. Legally, the law allows your company to be sealed up if you don't file or you don't pay where you ought to pay. But LIRS now is saying that there are great consequences for not filing your returns as and when due. And you look at it, there's no real serious issues for not filing your returns on time because it has so many benefits if you file your returns on time. You can get your TDC on time. What I mean by TDC for company is a tax deduction card for you to know how much your tax per staff will be paying every month. And for individual, you file your returns on time, get yourself an assessment. You can get your tax clearance on time because it is used for so many things in the States. You may have a contract with the government, you ask for your tax clearance, you may have a contract you are bidding for, you ask for your contract, you ask for your tax clearance. Even often it's just that law is not being implemented yet. You get to get a driver license and your international passports. You ought to be requesting for tax clearance. It's already in the constitution there. It's just because you've not started using it. But the state is planning on implementing those laws now. And we're working with the Federal Inland Revenue too on all these laws that should be implemented without your tax clearance, because there's no way you be in a particular state or an environment or not contributing to the economy of that state. So it's compulsory for you to make sure that this payment, this filing of return is done. It's only when you file your returns that your tax clearance will be gotten. When you file your returns, you get an assessment of what you will pay, and you make the payment, and your tax clearance will be issued to you. So it is very important, because most people look at, if I don't file, what would they do to me? Even companies, a lot of companies are deducting from their staff, and they're not filing the returns for them at the end of the year. It's the income you pay them in the previous year. You need to file in the current year. So there's nothing owing you, delaying you not to make that returns every year. Now for company too, for companies, agents of which are agents of the government, if your staff pay their taxes every month, they need to be rendering the returns. We call it tax schedule on each tax platform. Every month they need to be rendering their returns for us every month. And if you do that also, it will help you in your tax planning. Because by the end of the year, when you file these returns every month, you return it every month on the e-tax platform. By the end of the year, when you're filing your returns, it will be easier for you. So it will even be an error-free for you, because you already have familiar with those of your staff that have left, those that are joined. So you file these returns every month that are prescribed. It's also helping you in your tax planning, and it will make you to have an error-free. So why waiting until you get penalized or you get punished by law before you know that filing your return is very, very important to you?
Mrs. Akin-Bashiru, thank you so much for your explanation regarding the consequences. But let's move on to the next question, which is, what other actions are prohibited by tax laws?
So many actions are prohibited by tax law. For example, now, if you are an individual, okay, if you're an individual, after filing your returns now, you don't disclose your total income. Just like I said earlier, you need to file your returns. You're handling an income from another sources, you're not disclosing it. That is, you're filing foul of the law. You need to disclose your total income. When your company not disclosing the true picture of their resources, of their income, how do I mean? Your company's the tax auditors, we have a tax audit department that comes around to audit your company now, and you are not letting us, the LIRS, know the true picture of what transacts in the previous year. But it's statutory for them to come every year to audit your company. You're not giving us a true ledger, a true position of what is happening in your company. That is not too good. There are also penalties for this. You are not disclosing your entirety of the business operation in your establishment. It's not a true picture of what is going on. The law is against these acts.
How is LIRS collaborating with employers to ensure accurate reporting of employee incomes and deductions?
Okay, yeah. Every year, like that's the position we are in now. Every year, if your company file your returns for the previous year, and 2025, they're going to, because you are an employer, they're going to state your true position of income they're giving you. We call one thing that we call tax deduction card, TDC. This is where LRS will now compute for your company what your income is and what your tax is. And this is what your employer will be paying to the LRS every month on or before 10th of the following month. Assuming now we're going to pay for what we deduct from your tax, from your income in February. They also have made the payment on or before 10th of March. Do you understand what I'm trying to say now?
Yes, I do.
The income and tax deducted from your income in the previous month in February, they need to make the payment on or before 10th of this month. So if you don't pay on or before 10th of this month, they are due for penalty and interest. And often, LRS doesn't like giving individual or companies these penalties, because why would they give you if you are doing what is right? And for individual, if you don't pay, you are given an assessment, you don't pay before 60 working days, 60 days, or when the assessment is issued to you, you are bound to get penalty and interest. And if you don't pay within that 60 days of that penalty and interest, you will be given a demand notice, and your file will be moved to legal department for prosecution. And when it comes to legal department for prosecution, anything can happen for not doing what is right to the state.
Now, before we go, any final thoughts or words of advice to taxpayers on accurate data, early filing, and payments?
It is an obligation, and it's a civic responsibility of an individual to file their taxes regularly and on time. Is very, very key. And giving the agency an accurate data, it also helps the individuals and the government as a whole. I mean the agency now, LIRS as an agency. Because if you give an accurate data, I cannot re-emphasize this enough. It will help you as an individual to plan yourself. It will help the company too that employed you to plan for the future, and will help them in the situation where they're getting a contract from companies or even bidding for a business. That is why you see more often when a company is bidding for a business, you ask, let's see your returns, let's see your tax payments, let's see your staff tax payments. And if you don't supply enough information, accurate information for the agency, I mean the LRS now, how will you be able to plan for yourself? How will you be able to plan ahead of what you are paying for? So we need to advise and re-advise an individual to file on time, that they won't fall foul of the law, and to submit an accurate data to the agency so that they can pay their taxes on time. Because it's part of this paying their taxes on time that the state is using to provide all these amenities we are seeing today. The schools, the hospitals, the street lights, the security camera everywhere. It's part of revenue. That's your data that you submitted, provided, they were using for all this. So I would just advise all individuals of Lagos State, all tax-paying public in Lagos State, to do the needful and not follow on the law, so that they can file their tax returns on time and make the tax payments on time, so that Lagos State can develop more than what it is now.
It has been an absolute in-depth conversation with you on Corporate Talk today. Thank you so much for coming on the Tax Talk.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been awesome. To our viewers at home, you can see that it is your civic responsibility to file your annual returns, because when you do that, you are helping the government to plan, to help the government to build good schools, good hospitals, and of course, good roads. The Deputy Director, Personal Income Tax, LRS, Mrs. Basirat Akin-Bashiru, speaking on filing of annual tax returns and addressing taxpayers' needs with the LRS. Officially, it's a wrap on today's edition of the Tax Talk. Thank you for your time. You can find the full episode on our YouTube channel and short clips on our social media handles. Don't be shy to engage. My name is Oyinlola Saleh, and until next time, farewell.